shit, you know, we're gonna keep these. No, you got 4 unprotected picks. All you don't just sitting there playing some lightning out in Orlando where you can get motherfuckers somebody. Why not though? Huh? You don't think they gonna win? Do what? Win what? Orlando, yeah, Memphis, no. What am I winning? They won. So they won before. I'm winning 5-6 with them. 5 go to the playoffs. And they was like, it's crowd shit. It's crowd shit, man. I don't know that. This is business. I mean, only 5 or 6 teams trying to win a national championship. But that's like saying, so you saying, Josh, I'm not trying to limit? No, not players. All but you know how much pressure it takes to win? Think about what I'm saying. When you're winning, you have to be there. Every decision you make has to be on point. You gotta be smart as fuck. Nobody wants that kind of pressure. Orlando don't want that pressure. Goddamn Memphis don't want that pressure. So just imagine when Memphis was a 2 seed a couple years ago, right? Mm-hmm. But then did shit since. Sacramento was what a few years ago? 3 seed a couple years ago. But the motherfuckers been shuffling players in and out of that motherfucking lane. You know what? We finna lay coaches and players like this. When you're in a small market, nobody cares. But if you're in a small market, are you looking at Indiana? Are you looking at OKC? What they're doing being in the right now? Saying, Russ just put together. Now think about the pressure. Now think about the pressure Indiana is gonna have next year to get back. And then when you succeed, there's pressure for you to keep doing it because now the fans want it. So some teams just want to be in the middle of them.
Hey, like maybe top 5. Miami. Give them a little chase, and then I reach it. Maybe 2 Final Four this year, and then playing basketball. Huh? Basketball. The players, careless of players, playing the upper management. They're playing a different game, but still. You can't control, like, if Ja really, like, I ain't seen Ja look like Ja in a while. What is he gonna look like get rid of his friend? I can make Ja not look like Ja, I get rid of his friend. So he gonna go out to his own.
And the new coach changed. Let's pick roles.
For Desmond Bain, some have argued that they should explore the trade market for the other stars on the squad. Gil, you said you think the Grizzlies should consider going to full rebuild and moving on from Ja Morant and
they're not considering that's what they're doing. You just gave them 4 unprotected. They can trade that with someone. They're gonna trade 2 of those with Ja. They're gonna trade 2 of those with JJJ. I mean, it's gonna be rebuilding. I mean, there's nothing to hope for. I mean, look at the team. Like, what do you selling? Draft picks for Ja, though. I'll get more draft picks for Ja. No. The problem with Ja is he's undervalued compared to what you're going to get back. So you're getting rid of a superstar name, but because he's not a supermax guy, you're going to have to throw in picks to get a supermax guy. So you will want to trade, him for a max player. Yeah, that's the question. So you trade him for? I don't want to trade Nick for somebody regular. But then, who got a regular ass contract? So you got a supermax guy, you got to pay a supermax contract. Is that what you want to do in your business?
No. So your job expects you to be on time for work every day. It wants you to just wait 2 weeks for your paycheck. If you need $100 to make it through the day, you are not alone. There's this app I love called Earn, and with it, you can get up to $750 in between paydays. It's your pay, your pace. You just verify your identity, spin this wheel right here, and boom, it's in your account. Your money is transferred right to your linked bank account. There's no credit check, no interest, and you can choose when you tip if you like the experience. Get what you need to make your day right. Download Earnin and make it payday. Trust me, your future self will thank you, especially when the snacks run out.
I'd like to thank her for that.
Thank you so much, Bishop, for joining us on NBA2K.
Bro, the level just started and we're already getting overrun. I gotta take these guys out and build this crossbow tower as fast as possible. I don't even think I have a choice. Quickly. Ooh, that was close, but that should take care of things. Wait, never mind, more guys. I should have saw that coming. Anyway, we can't handle this without a second crossbow tower and maybe a wall to block the enemy's path too. That should hold us. Wait, now we have these big beakers coming? When does it end? This is King Shot, a tower defense and base building strategy game that just came out recently and is already top 5 in strategy games with over 1 million downloads. King Shot combines strategy, exploration, resource management, PvP and PvE battles, plus a whole lot more. I suggest you give it a try. If you think you have a shot at becoming a king, that is.
Going to have to step up and fill that role.
Let's check out Indiana's starting lineup. Halliburton in the backcourt. Nembhard to his side. The forward spots with Neesmith and Siakam.
Yeah.
And it's Turner in its center.
A bunch of deep there. Look at that turnout. Great for OKC. That is. That's all good. You know what I mean? Man, look at those chicken ass. Ever since that. But it made sense then. See, like this trade makes great sense for Orlando today. We don't know what it's going to make 6 years from now when those picks start turning into something. Then we get to see, but it's still all on who's picking. If you don't have an eye, like when people talk about, I don't care about the draft, you should. Because every player that's in the NBA damn near, it's been through the draft. The fuck are we talking about? They coming through the draft. And y'all picks ain't worth shit because you don't know how to pick. Right? And all of the Watchmen with the second pick, well, if they would have picked, if they would have picked this right, it would have been different. That's who they picked. Back in 97, that could have been Melo, that could have been Bosh, that could have been goddamn Wade. You pick wrong. You got fucking power forwards back there, you gonna pick another power forward. That's your fault. Don't say the draft players was there. For all favors. I have 5 picks. You may use the wrong one. Those picks hold a lot of weight if you know how to draft correctly. That's been solid. They did but Detroit, they didn't pick. But that's what you already got a team. The draft pick you picked didn't have nothing to do with the championship. So now imagine you did pick Melo or Wade or Bosh. That secures your greatness moving forward. Why would they pick Chris Bosh?
That's good from Cunningham.
After finding out about the trade, you posted this on thread.
But where do they start?
Orlando Magic right now, 4 unprotected first pick. Out of the bang, you have a clown wig on, going with the peace sign yellow on Orlando Magic jersey. But did the Magic get fleeced from Desmond Bain? Fleece? They're not fleeced, they're just dumb.
No good.
What? It's Orlando, it's type off. It's literally Orlando Magic. It's Orlando Magic. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but there's some teams out here that just don't care. So they don't care about their future. They're just, they're not good enough to win a championship to give away 4 unprotected. Like, you don't give away 4 unprotected first round picks because you don't know what they're going to turn into. Right? I mean, Dynasties was built for stupid decisions like this. That's how Lakers got a lot of picks. That's how Boston got unprotected. That's how, Detroit got the second pick. I mean, it could have been Melo or, but they chose, but that's how they got that pick. Right?
You could ask me out. Do you even have an ability? What? My last boyfriend was level 3. Do you think I'd slum it for level 1 booster like you?
Yes, you know, because we're my partners.
Unbelievable.
I live in a world where everyone has superpowers except me. I'm just genius. Thank you. Quit. You're next. So it's my turn. This is gonna suck. I was born without any powers.
What the hell was that?
Special ability? No, what my parents. Your parents what? My parents couldn't afford it.
No powers and he is poor?
Talent is talent! Talent is talent! Talent is talent! Talent is talent! I'll show them. One day, they'll all learn what it means to mess with Queen Town. Teach my bullies a lesson. The most important thing is to open this book given to me by my dead parents. But it just won't open. Let's give it one last try. Okay, let's find a way.
The fact that he shows the one hand
tomahawk
slam because you get a little higher when you go off one hand and one foot. So at the end of 1/4 of play,
So my parents wanted to taunt me with an ability book from beyond the grave. They could have at least left instructions.
Live from Little Caesars Arena, you're watching
What the hell is happening?
Congratulations. You have been granted the vampire system. Upload complete.
What happened last night?
A pretty even game here after one quarter of play. And what stands out to you from the Pistons so far in this one?
Well, when you control the glass, you
I can see the
control the
ball,
second chance opportunity
Ow.
on both ends.
And you know, the rebounding advantage is very glaring. Simply outworking them on
The
the
trade
board
is
for that
fine.
entire
It's the
first
picks. You don't know what's going to happen to your team. Right? At least protect it. At least top 3. But to have unprotected and you get the number 1, 2 pick if something happens to your team, you just lost that. But they don't really care about building. They want people right now because
This was a win now move, obviously.
win now for a team that's not going to win now. You're not good enough to win now. Your franchise, I mean, from when I was there and before I was there, that is Disneyland. It's entertainment. They're not trying to win a championship. The grandfather was a tax write-off. The father was a tax write-off. The kids was a tax write-off. And the kids are the kids. Grant is a tax write-off. They're just using this for tax write-off. He owns the White Sox too. Tax write-off. It's just, you know. But I mean, the smart man to say, yeah, I'll give you the 4 picks, but I'm going to at least protect top 4.
Did they have to give away that many, though?
No.
They could have given away 1 or 2, I guess.
You want to get rid of KCP that bad like that?
Well, one of the picks ain't there, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
So it's just,
It seemed like a lot, though.
and then one of them is, it is what it is, man. They go ahead.
No, Bane, no.
Bane's can play.
The trade itself is a good trade.
The picks, though, that's a lot of picks.
And there ain't going to be no lottery.
But
You don't know.
Their thought process is that they're going to be winning, that they're not going to have picks no way. So right. So if the pick is in the 20s, they looking at it in that manner. So I know Jamal trying to win. I don't know what he's talking about. Jamal trying to win. The coach, trying to win.
For sure.
I don't know what the front office, the owners, write-offs, all that shit is fine and dandy. I know the head coach. He trying to fucking win.
And they can. Taylor's hurt next year. Celtics, I mean, the Pacers, ain't no juggernaut in the East no more right now. This is the time right now. At least next year. We don't know about the next year after that, but this coming year, anybody can win the East.
That's the squad.
What do you think about the Magic bringing in a proven 20 points per game scorer, 3-point threat, and Desmond Bain to help bolster their roster? They got Wagner, they got Paolo Banchero, Jalen Suggs be coming back this year. It seems. Well, you have a sensible mind, right? I'm a reasonable human. I think everything starts with foundation, correct? Promise. Up until what, 3rd in the East? Yep. 2nd in the East, maybe? For 2 years straight, they've been showing progression. And what's the one thing they lack?
Shooting.
At that what position?
2.
Okay. All right, so we handle that, right? Still got Anthony Black over there, Suggs. We still got some guys who can move and shape. This is one particular move, right? If you start with foundation, you're not going to sit there and rely on those unprotected picks to be something that you get down the line. You got to stand firm on we build it from here. This is going to be a guy who's going to put us where Paolo can't double him. Wagner can't double him. Bang, you might want to send one sometimes. Coming off whatever, right? And then you don't know what you can get in the trade they might be setting up, which could bring somebody to Orlando. Now you look at Orlando, New York, and Cleveland, 3 teams that nobody would ever predict to go all over and above Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and that was the other powerhouse in the East, Boston.
You keep deleting slot games one after another. Download the app, Cash Rally. This is an officially licensed IGT slot game straight from the casino floors. It's exactly the same as real slot machines in the casinos. It's different from other games on the market. This game probably has the best payout and bonuses of any slots game because it's so easy to win a jackpot in any slot you want of up to 10 trillion coins. And if you get lucky, you can win at least a mini jackpot in as fast as 20 spins.
Right? You think those would be there because of who they got. And then these other teams are starting to creep up because it's real basketball being played. And a small market. Okay, don't do that, George. We're not here for that, okay?
But speaking of the small
We're
market,
not here for that shit.
2024, Magic finished 5th in the East, go to 7 with the Cavs. Last season, there was a bunch of injuries. Paolo and Wagner missed a ton of games. Finished 7th.
Damn.
Finished 7th with a bunch of
Injuries.
How many injuries? It's at least 40 games.
Wagner missed a ton of games.
I might be
like important. You don't know, like you said, you don't know what some picks gonna become, man. It could be something, it could be something, but we're not gonna. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Like they got something. So like we'll cross that bridge. They got somebody that can show what this motherfucker can go out there and do right now. He's a 20-point scorer. He's shooting like 40 from 3, whatever. High field from 3. You know what we're gonna do. So. There's been a good basketball player, man.
Yeah, we close. Like, we close. And we say we might not be close to win it, but was New York? We feel like we can beat New York any given time we match up with them. And Indiana. We feel like we got Indiana number.
Oh, when it gets better.
Shit.
It's always say fuck them picks, because what I was told is, usually people who give away picks, they don't trust their own eye. So they'd rather a player already be developed because they don't want to develop them. So I'd rather give you my picks, give me proven players today.
I'm with it.
But history has shown
players aren't developed like that anymore.
Memphis ain't gonna be no dynasty, no fucking time.
Who said anything about?
That's where the picks going.
Yeah.
The picks went to Memphis.
So are they staying there though?
Yeah, no, fuck picks staying there because Memphis.
They ain't gonna
fuck yes.
I'm saying
Memphis ain't gonna be no dynasty, no fucking time. So we not. No, who they turn into?
I'm talking about Orlando. This don't have what to do with
they put the picks this year. It's a bunch of ifs again.
If they get hurt like they did this year, and they get a top 3 pick, if it's protected, they get that pick. If not, it goes to them. So you always want to put a condom on your picks because you don't know what's going to happen to your team in the next 4 or 6 years. And this is a 6-year giveaway pick.
They double down.
You already the straight up the guy is good. You want to roll on my pick. So you're saying that
the college landscape.
You're saying
that's what I was thinking. There ain't nothing out there to build them.
The college landscape over the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Hell yeah. That's what
is out there. Look, what is going on? The NIL is going on. These kids are not. You know how many kids went back to school this year? Kids are not coming out here. They're looking at the landscape moving forward. So I know back at the landscape moving forward. Is there anybody out there that's coming up in high school, college right now, that we're looking at the possibility if we keep it could help us? And they came up with the answer, no.
Not in the next 3 years.
We're willing to get off of these picks to get a guy that we think that can help us in the area that we struggle with, which is shoot 3.
Easy to see. They got 197 4 years left or something.
The franchise run the pressure, so they just wanted to get off the KCP, so they just did whatever to make the deal back. So they offered.
So they thought they was getting before when they signed KCP.
They didn't have to.
They didn't pay out.
He gave up on the last game.
So now you go out and get a guy that's
They put me in a game.
multiple years. So we feel a little forced in that man. Yeah, so they're looking at the landscape, man, for the next however many years. And nobody out there that can help.
And they wouldn't be here. They don't have
picks. They drafted bigs and this and
You don't want things. I'm giving you 4 first-round picks, but I want to protect the top 3.
And finished off by Hayes. Great teamwork right there. Hey, you gotta love the finish. Bringing it down with some attitude. Fires at the elbow. Here's Gilgeous-Alexander. It's deflected. And it's out of bounds. Still Chicago's ball.
Since you have.
Do you think Memphis said, nah, they want to protect it?
yeah.
There's Arenas.
They just wanted.
So you know that's so nice. I actually offered too much. That's right.
They offered too much.
They just wanted to give.
I think they were
so much that they just.
I think they were so banked too. They was like, they was like, he's the perfect fit for our team. Let's go that.
I got to worry about for the game, and I got to worry about tomorrow. So even if you're doing a deal with me,
if your coach ain't be there for you,
you're 4 picks away. I'm going to protect the back two just in case. I'm going to protect the back. I'm going to protect the back too.
KCP averages 9 points a game. It's going to get really so bad. We'll go like this 20 a night game.
You just don't practice. You ain't willing to pay for that.
Well, just tell me how it makes sense. How would we do it? How do I go trying to get rid of some to get some line?
You gotta overpay for it. You gotta overpay for it. You gotta overpay. You gotta mix it up.
You're like, what can we get for this? Right now, that even makes sense for us.
Extension, no, he asked me now, G.
That's not good. They want to speed. Right? So you're absolutely listening to things these days. Decision as a coach don't mean absolute thing.
They firing left and right.
They win the championship for 5. So it don't matter. Coach 7 years to get 5, it don't matter. Right? But I think they see something with what they have. And they're going to ride with it for the next 5, maybe 3, 4 years. And if it don't, 2, 3, 4 years, they're going to work. They're going to get out. And they got rid of Russ Anthony too. Like they didn't want.
And he was an easy contract.
He got 2 years. He got all his player option in that final year. He's got 2 years.
And again, it's the Bucks missing. Gilgeous-Alexander feeling it out a bit. Ooh, can't tie it up as that one's no good.
It's been that kind of quarter for him. The shot has just been unreliable.
And finished off by Hayes.
Known as a point forward, James excels at facilitating the offense and making his teammates better. One of the best to ever do it.
And timeout is called by Billy Donovan. He'll take the opportunity to regroup.
Insane on the other side of the WWE King of the Ring 2025 semifinals are officially set. Jey Uso defeated Bronson Reed, Rusev, and Sheamus to advance to a semifinal showdown with Cody Rhodes. That'll take place next week on Raw. Meanwhile, Randy Orton and Sami Zayn are on the other side of the bracket. That match will take place on SmackDown this week. As usual, there have been plenty of sort of hints and teases that WWE's been dropping as to what direction they may be headed in when it comes to this King of the Ring final at Night of Champions in a couple weeks, and of course, with the opportunity for the winner to go on and face the world champion on their brand at SummerSlam in August. The question is, again, what are we to believe? What are the red herrings? And where do we go from here with these Final Four? One of the most unique Final Fours in the history of a WWE tournament ever. Because, when you really think about it, when's the last time in one of these tournaments you had 4 baby faces, all in the semifinals, each facing off for the opportunity, again, to go potentially win a world championship? We've not really, maybe have ever, seen that before in terms of this particular setup. Usually you have a couple deals in there to balance things, right, and all that. But no.
Milwaukee will keep
I
it.
don't want you to know this.
And it's time to take another look at that powerful block.
You know that block has him and his teammates.
These are arguably, among your biggest baby faces on the roster, and they're all competing for the opportunity to get another shot at a world championship. There's been some people who will look at this and say, well, maybe this isn't the way they should have gone. They're going to try to do King of the Ring, give it to an up-and-comer, something like that. I don't think this is the old version of King of the Ring. This is kind of the new era, and the way they do it, and what they're leading to with Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, it's clear that they want to put, some of your top stars in there and have them compete for that opportunity. But when you think about the backstory and the history between these 4, it does set up one of the most, again, unique dynamics we've ever seen in a tournament setting in WWE. Because if we look at each of these guys and some of the hints and the teases that WWE's dropping as to what's next for them, you can kind of figure out the picture of maybe what this is going to look like once we get to Night of Champions and beyond. Let's start with Cody Rhodes, the most obvious person in this, because he is, of the group, one who probably still has the highest profile, right? Cody pinned John Cena at Money in the Bank. And I said at that point, why should Cody care about King of the Ring? Because he's already pinned John Cena, and he should get an opportunity at the championship rematch because of that fact. He couldn't have Money in the Bank in the tag team match, and from that point, I thought, well, maybe they'll just go ahead and set that up, and it's all well and good. Cody gets his match, and we're on to the next thing. But because they kind of brought it up last week on SmackDown with Cody saying, hey, what are we going to do about this? I pinned you. That wasn't part of your big master plan that John Cena talked about. And so, what are we going to do here? Well, Cody's going to try to earn his way, possibly with that rematch. Anyway, slice it, as I said, I think Cody's probably getting his rematch against John Cena at SummerSlam. That just seems most logical at this point. So if you move beyond Cody and you go to Jey Uso, this is home, right? Jey is certainly someone who just had the World Heavyweight Championship. Surprising loss maybe to some people when he lost to Gunther previous week on Raw. And now Jey's trying to earn his way back into it. Whenever they announced that he was going to be the surprise entrant in this other qualifying match, I'm thinking, okay, it's pretty clear that Jey's probably going to win this thing, because as you were seeing the rest of the bracket shake out, you did look at it and say, well, they have Orton and Sami on one side, Cody and Jey makes all the sense because of the possible combinations that you could get in the final in Saudi Arabia. Because, again, it is kind of tying Jey into these other people, right? He has history with Cody, his former tag team champion. He has history with Sami Zayn, speaks for himself. Maybe not as much history with Randy Orton, but if you think about Survivor Series and those kind of things, you know they've been tied together before in terms of the history there. And so, these are all things. Now with Jey, who has every reason to kind of be in a position where with all the stuff they're looking forward to with him, the thing we're looking at the most is probably that potential Jey versus Sami match in a final, again, at Night of Champions. That would be the most compelling thing you could do with Jey. You go to Randy Orton. Well, Orton said last week on SmackDown, he doesn't mind kicking Cody's teeth down his throat if he has to, because it's all about getting another shot to be a world champion for Randy Orton. Had that shot against John Cena. Cena screwed him over at Backlash back in May. And so now, Randy Orton kind of has what he needs, that motivation, to get back to facing Cena once again and trying to, maybe not for the last time between these two, but trying to maybe disrupt this entire, John Cena retirement tour and finally win that championship from his biggest rival in WWE history. But then there's Sami Zayn. And we said at the start, this all comes back to Sami Zayn. You tie everything into Sami. And in my opinion, he still is, of this group, probably the most intriguing one because of everything they've been doing with the teases and everything. Look at what they did on Raw this week, right? Once again, the devil on Sami's shoulder was there. Karrion Kross. Backstage segment these two had. And it still have that same sort of vibe, where Sami is basically talking to the bad version to say, hey, I don't believe this isn't true. Basically Sami's questioning everything from, as I said, through the devil on his shoulder figure in Karrion Kross. It was made as clear as possible that they are going to finally do the Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross match. And it's going to happen as soon as Sami is done with King of the Ring. Well, let's sort of specifically do anything. He said as much last week on SmackDown. He would even destroy Cody Rhodes if he had to. Like his brother, he would take out Cody for that opportunity to be champion again. And so, it's Randy Orton. It's the guy, he's the snake, right? The guy that will do anything it takes. No matter the circumstances, he will punt you in the head if he has to. And that's just Randy Orton. It's always been that way. Can you ever fully trust Randy Orton? And so Karrion Kross is putting all of this into Sami's, head, right? And they're talking through this. But now that we know that the intention is clear, these two are going to have a match, one-on-one.
Will open up things for other teammates with the pick and roll.
James with the block. And that one goes out of bounds. Last touch by James. McGrady, the pass to Wagner. Here's McGrady. He can't get that one to fall.
Cash advance.
From 13, up again. It's good on the putback.
Solid now.
Great positioning to get the rebound, then get it back up.
The Bulls trail by 9. Now Harden.
It's one of the biggest teases we need to know maybe the way this thing is going to play out. As I said, when we put this King of the Ring sort of bracket together and you looked at the potential final, to me it still looked like, all right, Cody versus Sami seems like the most intriguing potential final option based on, at the time, not knowing that Jey was in the tournament yes, I can understand you could do Cody versus Orton again. You kind of push the idea, and they have been on commentary. But Randy Orton was kind of in this situation last year, and then everything happened with sort of the controversial finish with Gunther and all that. So having Orton back in the mix and playing on the history with Orton and Cody, we finally, after teasing it for what seems like a century, are we finally going to get that Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes match, just maybe in a bit of a different setting than we thought previously. But again, Sammy to me is the one that I think is most fascinating because he determines everything here. When you really think about this entire story, like this feels like the story of Sami Zayn and the way this whole thing is played out, right? Because you have a couple options here with how they tease it. Karrion Kross could simply get involved in the match on Friday between Sammy and Randy Orton, and somehow that cost Sammy the opportunity to advance. Or it could be what Karrion Kross said. Sammy's just simply not willing to go to the lengths that a Randy Orton is to get a shot at winning back a championship. So if Sammy keeps bringing up the idea that he's finally going to get the World Championship and it's closer than ever, he said it himself on Raw, but yet he's still not willing to do whatever it takes. Is that going to be the thing that costs Sammy? Meanwhile, Randy Orton will do whatever he has to do. And so that's the difference. So maybe Karrion Kross doesn't have to get involved in the match on SmackDown, but what Kross has said does prove to be true. And so, if that's the case, then again, you're kind of setting up the one-on-one match between the two. And there's also the possibility that, again, if Sami Zayn loses, do you do Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn at Night of Champions? So if that happens on SmackDown on Friday, then you have a little bit of time, not a lot, but a little bit, to add Sami Zayn to the card at Saudi Arabia, which just seems like he's the one to be on there some way, somehow. And do you have that match there? And maybe that is kind of the moment where that is a turning point for Sami Zayn in this match against Karrion Kross. And then, like we said, we're further down the line. If Sammy doesn't win King of the Ring, does he return next year, early next year, and win the Royal Rumble? And that sets up the arc for Sammy to go on to potentially win his first ever World Championship at WrestleMania 42. Or does Sammy bring out a little bit of that extra edge or whatever, right? Where he is going into this match with Randy Orton, knowing he needs a little something extra. And if he does that, well, he wins and he advances Sammy to face Cody Rhodes, which does, to me, still set up, one of the more interesting finals that maybe you've ever had in the tournament with Sammy and Cody, based on, again, their past history as friends and everything that Cody went through with Kevin Owens and sort of Sammy kind of being in between of that whole thing. You go back earlier this year, right? Remember the visual where Cody did whatever it took to destroy Kevin Owens. And you've got Sammy down there beside his fallen friend. So that could also play into how they wanted to do this thing in the King of the Ring final. So again, I think when you look at the whole thing and the way they've been teasing this, to me it all comes back to Sammy and Karrion Kross. And I like the fact that, as I said before, it's a little bit more unpredictable now. Because you do have such a unique Final Four here that you really can't feel like you can accurately predict necessarily which version you're going to get in the final. I'll admit, I don't think Jay's advancing. I think Cody beating Jay is probably the right move here. And so, if you have Cody advance, then it really comes down to, do you do Cody versus Sammy, do you do Cody versus Randy Orton? And really, it all depends on, to me, one thing, and that's the teases they've been doing with Sammy and Karrion Kross. Do they want to do Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross at Night of Champions? If they do, then obviously you have Orton beat Sammy, and then you do Cody versus Orton. That's your big showdown, huge final for the opportunity to move on. Now, there is somewhat of an issue with that scenario, and that's that I don't know how many people think that Randy Orton is actually going to beat Cody Rhodes, knowing that you're probably setting up Cody versus Cena again. And so I don't know that I would completely buy that. And like I said, this whole thing for me, I don't think Cody needs to win King of the Ring, because he already has pinned John Cena. So I don't know that Cody needs this, but the way that they're setting it up, this year WrestleMania, that is an option. And all these little things, all these teases and hints, right, between Cody and Seth Rollins, and again, all the backstory between all these guys, that's what's making this work right now. And so, what's going to happen? Who's it going to come down to? Is it going to be Cody versus Orton? Is it going to be Cody versus Sammy? Is Jay going to surprise us all when you get that Jay versus Sammy final? I'm not sure about that. But there are plenty of ways you can go with this. And I think, again, it all comes down to which of these little hints get WWE to drop it. With Sami Zayn in particular, I think is the one that's going to make the biggest difference here and decide which final we're getting and ultimately who's going to win this thing. Is it as simple as Cody Rhodes, or does Sami find a way to win the King of the Ring when we do get that sort of, classic scenario where Sammy cashes or wins against Gunther, Seth Rollins cashes in, and we're off and running to Sammy's Royal Rumble triumph, essentially, early next year. You guys know what you think. Now the semifinals are set. Cody Rhodes versus James, Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. How do you see this playing out? Give me your prediction. Taylor Ring, semifinals, and your prediction for the final.
Both free throws good from James.
Some things change, but LeBron stays the same. Still the same leader on the floor. The same.
Hey, this applies to 99% of the world. I mean, 99% of the nation. Not 98.9. I mean, 99. Just like that percentage. Okay, and if you want percent, it's gonna apply to you. But for the rest of y'all, 99%, man, tap in. Boost Mobile coverage nationwide. Your blockers is great. Tap in with Boost Mobile. If you switch over to Boost Mobile right now, you can get an iPhone 15. It's crazy camera work.
That is 28 $99.
That's right, $99.99 on a 5G network. It's nationwide. And I'm 99% sure that Boost Mobile gave us a crazy deal with this promo. Now, this is crazy. It does require credit qualification, ID verification, and activation of a $6 plan. Taxes are extra, and 5G speed may not be available in all areas.
But they said what they spawned.
It's not even good. They're never good, though. Long time no see, man. We was here last night, man, wrapping up Game 5. We're going to talk about some more, man. OKC took care of the Pacers yesterday in OKC. Really to leave the series, man. Tough game yesterday for the Pacers. Great game for OKC, man. J-Dub went crazy with 46-4. SGA followed it up with 31-10. Siakam showed up with 28-6. My dog TJ Nash had 18-4. Last but certainly at least, Kyrie Halliburton, man, 0-6 yesterday, 4 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Did not score a field goal in the game, all from the charity strike. Man, we had some time to think about some more, man. Last night, man.
Why y'all not giving Miles no more touches? Miles not 4 touches.
Miles Turner was not playing that great this series offensively. I know he's been sick and under the weather. Yeah, he has not been playing that well.
He shooting yesterday.
He got 5 touches yesterday.
I'm nervous.
I don't think it's a lack of him getting the ball up.
It's a lack of
his confidence, bro, because, a lot of times when he was hot in that New York series, he got a little bit of space. He was shooting all those threes. They closing out playing defense so well. He ain't got time to load the drink. So I don't think it's for lack of effort to touch it, but
here's the ring.
I mean, across the board, boy, you look at this OKC defense of it. We talk about the offensive performances, but then they shut us down. Look at Neesmith. He had a decent game, but you just look at that game and thought that Aaron Neesmith was too impactful on the offensive end. We talked about it. My Lord, Andrew Nembhard. Jesus Christ. 4 turnovers. His fourth quarter was terrible yesterday.
I'm not expecting a lot of Miles Turner.
Okay.
I don't like that.
You can count on Dave from deep.
That scoreless first quarter, that might have woke him up, and he's turned on here in the second.
240, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's Gilgeous-Alexander. Outside O'Neal. Gilgeous-Alexander passes to O'Neal. 5 on the clock. Good work defensively by James. Milwaukee leading by 14. Here's Lillard. That falls. Nice feed that time from James. James has got 3 assists tonight.
What adjustment would you make, though?
Lillard against Westbrook. There's Tatum with the 3. Tatum! Money from deep.
Tyrese gotta have more of an impact. He make everybody go. That's what I say. Well, the king don't play with.
Lillard against Westbrook.
He said, so you get the kickbacks.
Now here's Lillard.
Tyrese, he play like this. So
for Chicago, they've gone just 5 of 12 here in the second quarter.
He kicked.
Here's Gilmore. And that one's good. That makes him 2 for 3.
This is what you love to see. Westbrook setting up his teammates on time, on target.
Quick lays, but you got to get paint touches.
Pass to Wilkins.
Kyrie's going to put up 20 minutes there. Yeah.
Arenas.
Outside,
off the mark.
And even though he hasn't been
back on that, man. It's not like Miles is one of those players we just going to post in the post and they never been in the game. So, like you said, everything is predicated off of Tyree's paint touches. You look at everybody else. Man, listen, OKC historic defense. That's probably why they're in the finals, obviously. But, man, there's no fair. They close out. They don't give up plays. So, you got to make timely passes. And when Tyree's playing like he's playing, man, anybody get open shots, they were locking up. I agree last night. I think the Rick Carlisle made a mistake of not letting TJ finish that thing up. He was the only bright spot. He was the only reason why we were competitive in that game. Andrew Newhart did not give us anything off yesterday. Shea had 31, so defensively I know that's still good, too, I guess, but he didn't really give us much of defense yesterday. TJ earned the right to close that game out yesterday. Most definitely. We got to talk about OKC, man. J-Dub. What do you think? Real tough yesterday.
And they push the tempo in this one. Getting out in transition and making the defense pay. All right, now let's check in with Allie LaForce. Allie, what do you have?
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Doc Rivers and Coach. You guys came out aggressive in the first half. What stood out to you?
You know, we're getting to the paint, making plays. They're a great team as far as rotation, so we just got to make the right passes.
In the playoffs, I think it's really fire for the All-Star.
All right, good stuff, Allie. And we'll get back to the action at the start of the third quarter.
You know, yeah, those games where he's not really aggressive or whatever. How do you last 3 years found his fun? I want to ask you the question. They've been comparing him, his postseason run to similar to Chris Middleton. How you feel about that in the finals?
Hey, everybody, it's halftime of game one and a big lead right now for the Milwaukee Bucks.
That's a great. Yeah, I know Giannis killed a lot, but you know, Chris Middleton was that closer. We don't know how it's going to go. We didn't think last year Jaylen Brown was going to get finals MVP or potato. Is the conversation to be had? Nah. I was just trying to throw up 32.
Guys, how important is the first game of the series?
I know y'all was going crazy, but I looked last night, I see a lot of people just like, oh, hey, give me a conversation. I'm like, if I get snubbed for finals MVP and I have 32, bro,
head back over to the third quarter with Ryan
OKC at the crib, they are different for sure, man. We talk about those role players stepping up. Aaron Wiggins, boy, when he is in Oklahoma City, the game plotters are up.
Happy to have you back with us for the Eastern Conference semifinals on 2K Sports. What a game we're seeing from Damian Lillard.
Can we go back to the shooting position for OKC? Man, they even get to it last night. Man, outside of Caruso had the best
Goldberg has returned officially. He showed up on Monday Night Raw to confront Luther. Before he did that, Luther was obviously using great. Fans started cheering. Goldberg, he dismissed it. He said, nah, he's not coming out here. And he moved on to something else. He started talking about Seth Rollins. Then Goldberg choosing hits, and then he comes out and faces up with Luther. And they are going to go at it for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. This was all speculated online until we had Monday Night Raw. What do you think of the whole segment they had with Luther and Goldberg? Are you excited for it?
They led by 16.
Some thoughts on this? Number one, I just, as nostalgia, and if this is Goldberg's final match, Saturday night's main event, I'm okay with it. I'm excited for it. I know that so many people will be like,
get it going. Alexander, here we go. And down it goes. 2 points.
People should be incorporated with somebody else and have this big feud. You know what? I'm okay with it. If I was going to have a retirement match, I would like to see it personally, only because everybody goes out on a big thing, not like the Undertaker match he had, but something that is kind of and he can kind of close a chapter on wrestling. It's funny, you're an attitude era, and well, 1998, 1999, not the end of that. It's not it's not, but when Goldberg was at his peak, I was watching it, and that has been a lot of fun. And even it's like feud with Brock Lesnar ended up in the game. It's like something else. It'll fall apart and be an absolute disaster. The other thing is, you know that this is the final match. Like, I assume it's in Atlanta. They're going to build this around the main event. It feels like this would be his send-off in final match. That's what
to me. I know the Alexander with the rebound. And the shooter had very little odd to me that they wouldn't do this for SummerSlam. Only because it's a 2-night SummerSlam. And Goldberg has that name value. They really do this as a match there. So it really, really well. They got some of those things. Goldberg got world title over SummerSlam. Here's the thing. Smart. Goldberg. He's winning the
James has got his fourth assist with that last one. And we'll
no, I'm kidding. I got including that. That's right. Give him a breather to talk things over.
Top scorers in the playoffs on our 2K leaderboard.
But I gotta think that
perfect time to take it to another level offensively.
He's not gonna power him. Like, let's be honest here. What this match is going to be. It's going to be like 6 minutes, 7 minutes. He had some decent spots when he was one face Bobby Lashley. It wasn't a train wreck, so it's possible that it's a decent match. But, and I say decent. But I think Goldberg just throws him out. And then maybe he goes to the post-match angle. Goldberg tries to, stomp him or throws him out again, finish him off. Goldberg gets up. And he hits a spear. People are going to want to see Goldberg hit a spear. He falls a jackhammer. He gets taller than him, and like, he's a big boy. Goldberg is not bad anymore. I don't know if we're going to see a jackhammer one final time. I think he should be able to fall a spear. I think it's so great for Goldberg, too. Because he did the fire on the entrance, and he did his, kick, and then he did a kick, he started walking, and he started hitting. I got so worried for him. And then he got to the steps, and he also started going slower. And then he finished the segment, and he got to the turnbuckle, and it was also very slow. I got very nervous. But regardless of how you feel about it, I'm going to sit here and say, you know what, it's going to be entertaining. I like seeing legends come back sometimes. Whatever capacity this actually turn into, I will enjoy it.
Another miss by Milwaukee. The Bulls trail by 7. Westbrook passed him alone. Hits the layup after the sweet pump fake to freeze the D.
I don't know. What if we feel hilarious? But also, I know a lot of people down the line and say, well, this...
Tatum against James. Pass to Arenas. 4-3. James with the rebound. James has got 8 rebounds in the game. Here's Malone. Here's Westbrook. And Westbrook slams it home.
Aggressive move by Westbrook, but then again, what else is new?
Just over 3.5 minutes through the third. Here's Arenas. That falls. Nice feed that time from James. James has got 5 assists in the game.
Taking it right to them. Westbrook holds nothing back inside.
And this is his 3rd trip to the line tonight. The first free throw is good. Chicago making a switch here. O'Neal's checked in. And Milwaukee with a change here too. Lillard's checked in. And so Westbrook nails both of them.
They're doing some good work at the line this half.
James against James. Pass to Drexler. Oh, and there's the whistle on the shot. So 2 free throws for him coming up. All right, guys, what do you think so far about the offensive approach for the Bucks?
Their offense has been a well-oiled machine. They're moving the ball around, playing for one another, and just piling up assists.
Well, another major factor in the offensive performance was the fast break. Converting on those chances when they get them tonight.
Now here's Gilgeous-Alexander. Give him 8. Here's Westbrook. Shots blocked. Out of bounds. Bulls ball as Chicago keeps possession. And you got to be in awe of incredible defensive efforts like this.
Yeah, this is the elevated energy level you expect in the postseason. Chasing down blocks and making an impact.
James against James. Clock at 6. James inside. Lays it up and banks it in. James has got 5 points now this quarter.
When LeBron is being aggressive on offense, you've got to make a change. You can't let him just have his way.
There's the 3. And it's Drexler missing.
One reason this game is so tight is because both teams are hitting the boards with reckless abandon.
Pass to Malone. To the wing on the left. Westbrook against Lillard. And the basket by Westbrook. And now it's just a 2-point Bucks lead.
And force-feeding the ball inside. I mean, no reason to go away from what's working.
The 3, here's Lillard. Chicago with a rebound. O'Neal's got 4 rebounds in the game. James passes to Malone. Out of bounds. It'll go to the Bucks. Wallace, he's checked in for Milwaukee. Edwards comes in for Hayes. 1:43 left to play in the third quarter. And here's Lillard. He's got 11. Wallace.
Just keeping the game simple. Lillard's patience and acute understanding of pick and rolls comes in handy.
On the wing, Harden. Kicks it out to Westbrook. It's Milwaukee with a rebound. At one point, they led by 16. Out to Lillard. Lillard on the drive. Ooh, plenty of contact on that shot. Officials call the foul, and he'll take 2 free throws now.
And just too good of a shooter for the D not to react to Lillard's pump fake.
This is his second trip to the line in the game.
And man, looking good from the line so far this half.
59 seconds left in the third quarter. The Bulls trail by 6. Out to the wing. Back to Westbrook. Good, and that makes him 6 for 9. A quality game for him so far.
Whatever adjustments were made at half, boy, they are working. He's looking like a different player since the break.
Pass to Drexler. Inside. And he dunks it. What a pass to set him up.
And that's how you lead a team. Literally.
Lillard against Westbrook. Three-pointer, Harden. And that one comes off the assist by Westbrook. Westbrook's got assist number 8 here already in the game. Outside Edwards. Oh, Edwards! Money on the triple.
That's how you up the ante. Come right back at him.
Yeah, I love the competitive fire right there. You drain a triple on us, and I'm coming for my revenge.
And so it's Milwaukee leading by 6 as we wrap up the quarter. And it's all due to their ability to own the paint. They've been dominant down low. Time for a quick break, then back to the action. And a moment now as we take a look at our State Farm assist of the game.
Yeah, just shredding the defense
LA
with
Knight steps in and shoves onto 3, give a little paint pass to the Jay. They will pick up the victory. James moves on in the King of the Ring tournament. And like again that there's so much intertwined stories happening. Sammy's got all the people. Bron, Bronson, LA Knight is constantly back and forth.